a very tragic alert for you right now. An incredible plane crash into the World Trade Center here at the lower tip of Manhattan.
It's believed the 737 has crashed into this speculation at this point.
June 2001, my husband and I decided to take our two daughters, Michaela and Katie, to Walt Disney World. We were told and advised by many other parents to not inform them. We had decided that we weren't going to tell the girls and make it a surprise. That age, they keep asking every day, when are we going to Disney? When are we going to Disney? So in July of 2001, Katie started waking up saying she was having dreams, explaining to my husband that about a plane, and she kept saying New York. We didn't really think anything of it until August had occurred, and she was waking up almost every day talking about the plane and the plane crash. My husband and I thought maybe they had overheard us making plans for Walt Disney World. By the middle of August, we had told all our friends and neighbors about Katie's dream, and it was kind of a joke, actually. So because she kept saying New York and we were going to Florida, we were certain that we hadn't gave them information, but wasn't sure if maybe somebody else had. And towards the very end of August, right before Katie's birthday, so she was still 3, gonna be 4, she woke up and real early, a little upset, calling down to us, and my husband went upstairs. And he was up there for quite some time, and then he came downstairs with a piece of paper, and he said, I don't know, this isn't just like the normal dream. And I said, what do you mean? And he's like, well, she's still talking about the plane in New York, and hands me the paper. And the paper was a drawing, and it was drawn by a child, definitely. A little more advanced for a 3-year-old, but not so much for a 6-year-old, just to give you an idea, with a pencil. And in the drawing, it showed a plane with windows and heads in it. And my husband said, what is that? And she said, that's the plane, that's the people in the plane that goes into, that crashes. And then in the next section, there's this big rectangle and scribble all over it. And my husband said, well, what's that? And she goes, that's the building that the plane crashes into. And he's like, what's that? And he's like, she goes, the fire from the plane. And then up in the corner was like a spiral thing and a balloon through it. And my husband said, well, what's that? Thinking it was smoke, I think, and she said, that's the tunnel that the people have to go to after they die. And we were like, okay. So we told the story for about 2 weeks. And then on September 11th, I went out for a morning run like I normally do, a 10-mile run. And I remember running back. It was a gorgeous day, looking up and seeing how beautiful the clouds were, and thinking, oh my goodness, what a great day. The girls were already at school, and I got home and there was a ton of messages when I walked in my kitchen. And the phone rang, and I answered it, and it was my neighbor saying, oh my God, have you seen the news? And I said, no, I just walked in, but what's up? And he's like, you haven't seen the news? And I said, no. And Nick said, hurry up, put the news on. So I put the news on, and I was like, oh my gosh. And he's like, it's just like Katie explained. And then I kind of like froze a little bit, and then I listened to all the messages, and the phones kept ringing pretty much for, I would say, maybe 3 days straight, to everybody talking about Katie's dream and how it was in as much detail that a 3 or 4-year-old could give. Obviously, for many weeks and months afterwards, it was all in the news. We didn't want to expose our daughters to that just because it was depressing. And they were too young, we thought, but apparently school had informed all the children. And it was probably a couple years later, Katie's met a friend who actually was born on 9/11, not that day, but was born on September 11th. And her mom and I had talked about, that day, and we talked about Katie's dreams, and it was years later that 60 Minutes did a story on, there were many children Katie's age that had dreams very similar to hers about 9/11. Smaller incidents throughout the years happened with Katie, and then things kind of dwindled down. So we tried to make it not that it was Katie's story, and we tried not to talk about it much, and because a child would think they caused it, which is exactly what most of the kids on 60 Minutes thought. So it was good really not to talk about it, but to find out that there were many children at the preschool age and kindergarten age that were claiming very similar dreams. We don't know why, but so that was it.
All we can do is stare aghast at these pictures at this point. You are looking at the north building of the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in Manhattan. These are coming to you live now. Debris raining down from 110 floors up. As you can see...